The list is long, but I'm not going to take all those questions because the questions were lengthy. All the hard work had gone to making these questions. But we will straight away jump and focus on 6 points. Let me talk about what those 6 points are when we talk about harnessing data analytics and machine learning for predictive maintenance and process optimization in chemical plants. So we are talking about the first point is strategic potential of manufacturing data. So this will be discussed by Namrita ma'am. The second is on overcoming barriers to OT data integration. And here Mr. Ajay Bageshwar would be discussing. Driving predictive maintenance at scale, and Mr. Sachin Khamkar would be addressing this particular aspect. Optimizing processes with data analytics and artificial intelligence and machine learning, and this will be addressed by Mr. Krishnakumar Pandey. Cyber security and risk mitigation for data-driven operations will be taken care by Ashima Bajaj Seth madam. So let's not waste time, and let me ask Namrita ma'am if she can talk about strategic potential of manufacturing data. So,
thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me here. I think when we start looking at, making any kind of change in the manufacturing KPIs, whether it's productivity, whether it's reliability, whether it's quality, I think the story starts with data. So if you start looking at the strategic importance of data, I think we've heard enough in the previous case study, the panel discussions prior to that on, the fact that the story for creating any kind of business impact starts with data. Now, in the case of, looking at sophisticated algorithms that we build, again, any kind of AI, ML solutions that we build, for that also we need fairly robust data. So if I look at it from a point of view of operational excellence, I think over the last, couple of years, there has been a far more focused attention around saying, what can we do with simple things like condition-based monitoring? I want to improve the reliability of my plant teams, of my equipment which is working, and there is a fair amount of work that we have done at Aditya Birla Chemicals and the other Aditya Birla Group companies in terms of looking at increasing that reliability. That happens through condition-based monitoring of the equipments. And towards that, I think, again, data has been sort of the key. So whether it is looking at, platforms like AVEVA or Aspen or other platforms which are available in the market to sort of form the base to provide the historian that you have for actually collecting that data. And then using, creating a, layer on top of it, really, which is where you start building your models and building reliability by predicting, what is the propensity for an equipment to break down. Now, a lot of our businesses have equipments which are legacy equipments, which are more than 50, 60 years old. You may not have necessarily OEM support in some of them. So this is where having that predictive analytics becomes extremely important from a reliability perspective. The second area, I think, which becomes extremely important from an operational excellence perspective is quality. And over there, I think there are two roles, both in terms of quality with regards to in-process quality, and therefore the ability to trace back using solutions like AI and RFID tags to actually trace back the source of the problem that may have happened from a quality perspective, as well as looking at quality inspection when you have a finished good or in-process quality inspection. So that's a second area where we typically look at a lot of the data to figure out how we are performing across our quality first-time right metrics that we have. The third area from an operational excellence perspective that we look at where data becomes extremely important is around, the productivity or the efficiency. And there, again, we are looking at figuring out, what is the performance of our various equipment. So whether it is our electrolyzers, that we have across our various plants in our chemical, in our chloralkali business, or whether it is looking at certain other equipments, then it becomes important to figure out what's the performance. And that performance, again, collecting the data becomes important to build those models. And we've been doing that over the last couple of years, again, in terms of building up those models to improve our performance on two metrics. One is in terms of the efficiency, and two is in terms of reducing the costs for the performance. So I think those are the two areas where we've seen a significant improvement. When we look at it from a business point of view, how does this track back to business? I think in some of the utility spaces that we've seen, the power consumption that we have had as the variable cost, or the most important component in terms of the cost of a given plant outside of the fixed costs, the power cost becomes extremely important. And there again, we've used data and analytics really in terms of getting into figuring out what is the baseline that we have, and then what are the leakages that we are experiencing. So given those leakages over the last couple of years, again, we've managed to bring down or make savings of about $1 million across 8 odd plants. This is for the chloralkali business, and this has happened over a 2-3 year period. And these are recurring savings that we are experiencing. If you look at it from a point of view of looking at savings of power consumption that go into again into the running of these equipments. So there again, over a 5-year period, we are looking at about a 20% decrease in terms of the power consumption amounts by using data to analyze, to build models, and these models are able to help us predict where are the leakages happening, where are the optimizations possible. So these are a couple of areas that we typically look at. Traditionally, I think sustainability is the last area that I'd like to touch upon. And I think it's been extremely important from a safety and sustainability perspective to have the data to make sure that we're able to meet with our goals that we've set out. So again, that's one space where we have been using a lot of the data, not just from a compliance point of view, but also in terms of, evaluating our own performance and seeing how can we look at delivering better, delivering better performance against the sustainability goals that we have, whether it's around reducing the water consumption, whether it is, the recycling of waste. So those are some of the areas where we've typically utilized data very, very effectively.
So from strategic potential of manufacturing data, we now jump to overcoming barriers of to OT data integration, and I will request Ajay Bageshwar ji if you can throw some light on that.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good evening. See, what we have seen so far is the final product. We have seen how data is handled in the platforms and how the things have come. So, but the journey right from the go, from the scratch to come to this stage, we face a lot of issues, a lot of barriers, as this topic is very important to talk about. So to start with, I'll touch up certain points. First, few strategic points, and then some technical aspects also. The first and foremost, the trigger point to start the Industry 4.0 journey. So we should know where it has triggered from in the company. For the company like us, we are right from 1940. before the independence. So the OT setup, the IT setup has been into existence in our setup for ages. So the first point is the handshake of the MD of the company and the CIO of the company. Where it starts from, whether we need, what is the need of the industry 4.0. So in our case, we were very lucky. Our MD and our business setup triggered this point, and the existence of and the journey of industry 4.0 evolved. Now, when this is the starting point, where it becomes a luxury for a CIO that yes, now he can implement, and he can get funds. So that is very important. Now, the next point is the change, the adoption. So we all know, whatever good we go for, whatever change we bring in the organization is inversely proportional to the acceptance. So it is not so easily accepted. Let's face it. Though, yes, the visualization and the journey, we know that we want to head for a very good cause. And this journey to get adopted into the nitty-gritties right from the operator level to the business level and to all the IT and OT teams, this is very important. So this is the first challenge and the first barrier, everybody faces. But when it starts from top, the things become easier. And we get into more, implementation page and start our goodness to go to the digitization and automation in the factory. Third and foremost important, choosing a partner. This is the key. There are various partners. Now that has to match your business process, your setup, technical setup, and your goal. So these three you should have preset in your mind that before you go outside to the market, that what type of achievement, see, Industry 4.0 is ocean. So it has to match your journey, whether it is greenfield, brownfield, or piecemeal implementation, whatever it is. So we have to start to see and start thinking, so whom should we catch? And that is also the most important decision one has to take. Now, while we take this, we also need to see, it's always, a better approach. Don't go to the clinics, go to the hospital. Because we need to have a future-ready program. We need to have, you are going to face a lot of problems. You are going to face a lot of issues. And every solution cannot come from a single window. So you need to have a lot of technical discussions, process discussions, business goals. So many permutation combination are going to hit you. So we need to catch those aspects before we even start the journey. So once we solve these three cases, then we say that yes, let's go and let's see and let's start innovating more. Next, as what other challenges are the three important, now let me touch some technical aspects. There are very important three aspects when we touch Industry 4.0 automation, digitization in any factory, be it chemical or any industry. First is data. Rightly said, everybody has talked about data since we started this session. So data is the most critical point. The second is the communication medium. How the data is going to travel, how the data is going to flow. You are going to test it. The complete OSI layer is going to come into play. Right from the physical layer to the application layer. So we need to understand how the communication, the media is going to help us. Third and foremost is the security. So these are the three major challenges when we go to the ground and start the journey of Industry 4.0. From the data, we know the data is spread across nook and corner. Every machine will have some data. So data, choosing the data, as rightly said in various talks we heard, is very, very important. And the most important challenge is data is available in silos. And bringing data, a right set of data, is one of the most important parameter where, the entire journey starts from. Choosing the right set of data, and then how the data is going to travel. Now we see that, we face a lot of legacy OEM to OEM. Various OEMs will be sitting in your factory since ages. Now we have got old protocols, old communication methods, right from RS-232. Then we go Modbus 485. Then we see that OPC DA. So these things are existing. Now what my another IT world will want, no, I need OPC UA. I need another most advanced protocols to come into play. So these need to marry. Otherwise data cannot go to your intended target. So that is the communication media we need to solve. Third, of course, the cyber security, the security aspects, the OT and IT network. We know we need to merge together, but it's not that easy. Dealing with the old setup, which is a legacy setup, and then IT, which is running in the rocket speed. The technology you try to catch runs away. We all know. But marrying both the aspects together and bringing into security is the most critical challenge, anybody would face. Now, IT and OT need to be segregated. If I expose my OT data to the IT world, we are gone. So we have to catch right from the physical layer to the data layer, to the network layer, to the transmission layer, to all the encryption layer, and everything we need to analyze that how am I going to segregate the OT and IT setup and bring effectively the data to my digital layer and bring all the AI parameters where we want to play around. Next, the processes and the skills. When you are dealing with OT team and IT team, they think totally differently. So when you are going to bring any solution to the cloud or to bring the complete AI-based, analytical-based data into automation and digitization platforms, without processes, IT cannot do anything. So you need to have a very mega discussions between the process team and the IT team, and both need to gel with each other to bring to a complete solution. So that becomes a very key aspect, and now when we deal with that, then you face the skills issue. So partner alone cannot do anything. You have to have a built-in skills also within our ecosystem to deal with all these challenges. Now, once you go into the solutioning mode, you will have solutions of everything. Now, when we talk about the chemical industries and all, you come to all the solutions of all these aspects. Now, another problem IT team or a CI has to face the regulations, the government regulations. So that has to be touched upon. So bringing everything together and everything into the solution becomes a very major challenge. To see outset of the data, the analytical data, AI data, right from the CEO table to the operator level, it's not going to be easy. So we need to have all these parameters into play piece by piece, and then bring everything on the solution part. So this is what my small input is, but it is a mega field. We are available for the networking, and I'll be happy to assist and answer any other aspects of the chemical, not only chemical, but all other industries standards for Industry 4.0. Thank you very much.
Ajay ji, you have very simplified, in a very simplified way, explained almost all the entire chemical connected plants, interchange of data and also segregation of data that you talked about, because it's it's a cyber security world. Everybody wants to hack the data and get the data.
Correct.
So thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Just a small commercial break. You have these feedback forms or response forms, I would say, which was there in your docket. So I would request, if you do not have, please collect it from the ladies out there. Why don't you get the feedback form and circulate it? So please fill it up. There is a lucky draw after this, this panel discussion that we are doing. So I would request, please earnestly fill up this feedback form, because those who have not filled up will get a chance. Those who are sitting here will also get a chance. Because that will help in terms of better understanding, as we were talking about collaboration and communication. So if you provide us that feedback, it will help us in a better collaboration and better communication, so that people can come and tell you what are the solutions that you're looking for and what kind of solution will be more useful to you. And there is also a prize, which is a lucky draw after this. So that is just a catch to get your forms filled up, nothing of that sort. So I would just earnestly request, if you do not have forms, please get it from the ladies out here. Please raise your hand and they will do it. And the people at the back, the AVEVA team and the GrassDoor team, please help in getting those collected so that we can do the lucky draw. Now we come back to from the commercial break to what we can say our panel discussion. Driving predictive maintenance at scale, and Sachin, you are almost driving almost 3 companies. One is Clariant, another is Clariant IGL, and then there is one more company, I believe, whom you are driving. So if you can talk about predictive maintenance, and that too at a larger scale, because there are multiple operations running at the same time, multiple factories which needs to be taken care. So how easy or difficult this task becomes?
Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. I'm really scratching my head considering what is left now to talk about, okay? Because all the pointers which I really thought that I'm going to talk about, some of the other ways those pointers are taken, but still, I'll try to be as much as short as per the knowledge and the expertise which we have deployed in Clariant and rest of the companies. Of course, when we talk about the digitization, we talk about the predictive maintenance, or maybe most of the time it's called like an, rather than predictive maintenance, it is more like how we can be ready with any sort of disaster that may come, that we can try to understand that very much in advance so that we can take care of it. And at the end of the day, we think about how this will help for our companies to be more efficient, energy efficient, more profitability, productivity. But maybe I'll try to add one more angle to it, maybe a people angle. For me, when you ask the question, how come predictive maintenance is going to be or important for a company? Well, it is going to be important for a company, but for a people, for me, why it is important, when any of my plant operator, including plant manager, when they are going on a leave, long holiday, they have a peaceful time, so that they can really take care of their families, enjoy with them, and they really don't need to think about what is happening into the plant.
Or if you can work on a process where they can sit at home and look at all the data.
Yeah, I think I would not say that will also come, rather that has already come. Okay, we are still yet to digest that fact. I know people who are really not believing onto the digital transformation yet. But yeah, this is where I'll look into that. Talking about how important it is, I think gone are the days when we talk about predictive maintenance or is just a buzzword, or maybe it is a good to have things. It is definitely a must to have things. When it comes to manufacturing, of course, I'm not from a manufacturing or a chemical background as such, but I do understand machineries very well these days now. So we have so many data collectors. It could be HMIs, PLCs, a SCADA system. I think these are very good system to let you know what is happening right now, in your plant or maybe a shop floor. But what we need more is like, these things cannot able to tell you what may happen into the future. They can talk good about what is happening right now. So take more of action when the things are already, highlighted. We really need to look for a system that can help us to know or identify the problem well before it comes. Of course, the country like India, I would say that still the mentality has to come up to that level, including buying the leadership interest to talk about how we can bring this solution onto the table that can overall help the entire company. There are also challenges. I think one of the question was about challenges. Today we are getting tons of data. I mean, since last 5 hours, whatever we are talking, millions of data points have already been generated all across the world. And I think the platform like AVEVA, and there are so many communities, I was talking to some of their booth people outside, that how they're also building a community. It is really going to help not to do the finding of a data maybe from the scratch, but maybe readily available communities where the data can be pulled, and that can be utilized to minimize your entire time that you're going to spend on redoing the same stuff or reinventing the same stuff to identify how exactly the pattern of the machine works. One of the beautiful pattern which I feel that when we talk about the predictive maintenance, maybe I'll go one step back. Since ages, most of the companies are actually going with the proactive maintenance kind of scenario. Well, proactive maintenance is really good. It can definitely give you a peace of mind, but that cannot really sometimes tell you the core potential of the equipment or maybe the machine. Most of the time, the OEM will give you a standard set of lifespan, that this particular vibrator, this particular boiler reactor, these things can work good for a 6 month. Post 6 month, you must have some sort of maintenance activity. And we try to be a hero saying that, okay, every 5 months I'm doing the maintenance activity. But sometimes I fail to understand that these things could be different, depending on where exactly that equipment has been installed. We have a car. For an example, we bought a 2 car exactly from the same manufacturer. If one car we are using it for a private purpose and one for the commercial purpose, vendor can only, the OEM can only tell you about my car needs a maintenance activity after every 6 months. But depending on the usage, like how we see the conditional positioning of that particular equipment, you might able to save good amount of time. You might able to do your maintenance activity maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 months later on, because you know that this is going to be a potential for my instrument. And rather, I would see that the companies or the OEMs who are producing this material, for them, it is going to become a kind of, or maybe a company like AVEVA, they are going to get this as an opportunity to generate another business stream. Like they can now tell the manufacturer better that your equipment, can really last long, not just for 6 months, but maybe more than that. And accordingly, that could become a selling point for the OEM. This is what I believe. When we talk about massaging the data, a lot of time when we are trying to convince to the leadership that, okay, let's start at least some sort of, predictive maintenance analysis. Of course, the question comes, how much money it is required, what is going to be the ROI. You can choose the kind of a maintenance, whether it could be reactive, proactive, or maybe predictive. And you can really have a combination of everything. It's not like that everybody is moving towards the digitization. That means I really need to look for a digitization. You have to ask certain set of a question. You have to have all the IT department, maybe the manufacturing, engineering department, the leadership department. They have to sit together to understand that what we need, rather than just talking about how we are going to implement something. When we try to analyze those questions in a patterned way, when we try to look into our other peer industry, what exactly they are looking or what they are exactly working on, that are also going to give us a good data points. And again, when we talk about, when we go to the leadership who are more into the business mindset, maybe rather than understanding the technology, that's where the people like us who come into the picture, who can let them know that, okay, this is what is happening into the outer world, and how we can utilize that to convert as an rather much more better business opportunity. Because at the end of the day, they really want to hear paisa kaisa bachega, or maybe how we can make the more money, how we can make a more profit and be professional in, or maybe have a good positioning into the being a market leader. So I know it's a very short answer, but I think, as I said, most of the things are already talked. But I really believe that now we really need to get out of the guesswork to more of a knowing the things before they happens, and it is going to make life simpler for almost everyone. It is definitely going to give a good amount of output in terms of revenue generation, and initial level, of course, it is going to be difficult to prove, but you can start with the very small things. You can do the sampling. I think there are companies already available into the market who are ready to give you, demo from the digital twins perspective or maybe from the sampling aspect. And those doesn't come, so cheap. We totally understand that. But I think the vision is, I would say that I being an IT operations manager, there was a time when giving a laptop to an employee, just like prestigious thing. And today, without a laptop, you can't work. I think this is a journey. It is growing so rapidly. Today, we feel that it might be so costly. But the time will come. This is going to be a necessity. And this is really not going to be take a long amount of time. It is growing so rapidly that you would never even imagine that you try to implement something and then, within few months or few weeks, that technology is now outdated. So, yeah, if we just keep that entire mindset open, if we have the capacity to turn the minds of our leadership to let them know that how exactly, and of course, I'm talking about a factual thing. When we talk about digitization, if we try to do it, it is not going to do the magic unless and until you have a proper fact figure numbers in front of you. It will be difficult to tell you. So take your good amount of time. There is no hurry. But one or the other time in your life, you really need to break into the system and be a part of this ecosystem. So, of course, that's what my explanation.
Thanks, Sachin. Now we come to the next part, which is optimizing processes with data analytics and AI ML. And I would request Krishnakumar Pandey ji, if you can throw some light on this.
So, good evening, everyone. And it's a pleasure to be here to share my experience, how process optimizations are really helping organization to grow their business. And we are all here in the great, era where the digital technologies, whether it is AI, ML or data and analytics, are really going to help organization to enhance their efficiency, their safety, and their, sustainability. So when I talk about, how the AI and ML is going to change fundamentally the way manufacturing operations are done when they talk about process efficiency. The data which is generated by the, plant, earlier it was difficult to analyze real time, but today that is reality. So when the process optimization used to happen, we used to rely on the operator's experience, and we used to do the periodic analysis of the data to try to find out where there is an opportunity to optimize the processes. But with the AI ML, you have model which can take the data real time, analyze the data real time, and it can take decisions also more or less real time, which will help in two aspects. One, it is going to improve the production yield. Second, it can help us to avoid some of the safety incidents. So this is, a great opportunity for all of us. However, as we speak, there are a lot of challenges when we talk about the data, especially in the OT network. So there are three major challenges on the data management, which I will talk about. One is that, there are data which is generated in silos, and it is quite fragmented. So it is difficult to collect the data all together. So that is one important aspect one has to look when he is trying to start the journey towards the Industry 4.0. The second challenge in terms of data is, the quality of data. So, and the duration of data. So because AI and ML model needs good amount of data, where some of the data are not available or they are noisy, so that, AI model cannot understand or predict properly. So this is another challenge where we need to work on improving the quality of data. The third is in terms of the data having contextualization missing. So when we collect the data, I think the time, the parameter for which we are collecting the data, these are all important contextualization which is required for AI ML model to understand and help to provide where are the opportunities to improve the efficiency. Now, if I look at, okay, probably before 10 years when we started this journey, people used to start small, people had apprehension whether this digital initiatives will be successful or not. But now we have enough case studies, enough success stories, and I think it is great for all of us that we should learn from them, and it is clear, balance sheet impact initiative where you will have a clear saving. So everybody should look at this opportunity to compete in the market, because as you know, I think China is efficient in terms of cost. So I think this is one area where India as a country, we can use the digital technology to become more efficient in terms of cost.
Thank you, sir. Now we come to another aspect, which is on cybersecurity and risk mitigation for data-driven operations, and I would request Ms. Ashima Bajaj Seth if she can throw some light on this.
Sure, thank
you. And then we come to the last part where all businessmen think about return on investment. And without this, no project, whether it is digital transformation, which is IT, OT integration, can happen. So that will be discussed on ROI and business impact of data-driven transformation by Rajeev, Raval. So first to Ashima Bajaj Seth.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everyone. And I'm glad to be here. It's a wonderful discussion. And as much as we are all talking about data, more the importance of data, more the importance of cybersecurity is what I see. Okay. And when you talk about cybersecurity, it starts from the very fact, what is it that you're trying to safeguard? So what are the risks that you're dealing with, and you're trying to safeguard against those risks? So you have to start from there. So it's all about starting with the risk assessment. In the manufacturing setup, I would say there are 3 key risks that we are trying to address: unauthorized access, data breach, or disruption of production. These are the key risks, but apart from that, there could be other risks associated depending on the nature of business and the manufacturing setup, and depending on the legacy that you have. So it could vary, but these are the key risks that we are trying to address. Again, in the industry, across the industry, we've been, over the years, we've had protocols, we've had frameworks which help us define on how we want to address and protect against these risks. Whether it is ISO 27001, NIST, it is IEC 62443. I saw that was being presented in the presentation just before, that they're trying to address these particular risks. So these frameworks are there which help you identify, which help you protect against, which help you detect, respond, or also in case of an incident, define how to recover your data. So these frameworks help us. At the same time, I think Mr. Bageshwar spoke about network segregation. So there are protocols which we follow, whether it is for network segregation, it is for data encryption, or it is for user access management. These protocols help us in order to manage our risk better. And last but not the least, I would say people, process, technology, the age-old discussion. Here, people becomes important because it's the culture, it's the identification and understanding and awareness that we need to be careful about the data that we are dealing with as an organization, as an individual, and everyone's responsible for security. So that's on the culture side of people management and people awareness. On the processes, as an organization, one needs to have policies, procedures in place, also to the extent of having clear playbooks in place if there is an incident. So that would give you the clarity on the processes that should be there. And technology, of course, there are various tools. I think some of them you're seeing today. There are various tools across industry, and we need to identify which tools suit for our purpose and then obviously enable those tools to be used. So this is in a nutshell on the cyber security. As much as importance of data, predictive analytics, etc., that much or more importance to the security part of it as well. Yeah, thank you.
So now we come to the last point, which is Rajeev would be speaking on, Rajeev Raval, on ROI and business impact of data-driven transformation. Right. So the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Pravinji, and very good evening once again. Before I start and share my view, I just wanted to give you an update saying that where I am coming from. So SML is a agro input industry, a part of agro input industry. and we are dealing with crop protection and crop nutrition. So in SML, we have implemented a digital transformation. We have took a first step just 2 years back, right? And in these 2 years, if we see, we have a legacy of around 50 years. We are 50 years old company. But whatever the process, whatever the data, it was here and there, right? So there was a humongous task, and how to bring that visibility and convince the top management, because top management buy-in and alignment is very much necessary for any digital transformation journey. So that was the first step. So then we have identified that what are the things that we can, kind of low-hanging fruits, right? So there was a limited data available, and data available were bits and pieces and in different locations. So first and foremost was that how we can unify this data and then bring that visibility of this data to a various department, so they can at least take a decision, right? A well-informed business decision. So that was the first step, and then among the different departments like supply chain, production, and back end, front end, we have provided this data and visibility of this data. And now if there any problem come across, people are working, have that visibility, they can identify the root cause and based on this come up with a solution. So that was a kind of first kind of advantage on my side, where I can convince my management that yeah, digital transformation is very much required and it's really helpful. Because if we see if you visit my plant, then the average, the manpower, the average is around 45 years, right? So it's very difficult to convince them and showcasing that what are the benefits. So that was first starting point, and then on the other hand, we have provided the visibility on the processes. And the processes is that there are historical data, then there are certain process through which we are gathering the near to real-time data, not real-time data, but near to real-time data. And based on this, we have provided this visibility to the operator, to the manager, and based on this, we have provided certain benchmark. If there is any deviation is happening, just need to do 1, 2, 3 things, and then you can able to improve your productivity and efficiency. So these are some of the basic stuff that we have done. And based on this, we got a very good response from the team. And because ultimately it's men behind the machine, right, who makes a wins a war. So this is something that if you provide the technology, but if the people is not smart enough, if the people doesn't understand that what's in it for me, then it's very hard to provide that kind of bring a transformation. What are the technology that you bring? So that was one of the few things that we have made it possible. And even the now management is convinced, and that's how we are going ahead with the major digital transformation. And we are also working on predictive analytics. So this is something that we have done in order to bring the visibility of inventory, because we are dealing with sulfur. Now sulfur is a kind of a raw material which used and is a kind of stock market, right? So how we can integrate in backend various data points. There are various external factors, internal factors that fluctuate the price of sulfur, right? So which is a key ingredient and a kind of a raw material. So how we can integrate, and this is something that we have started, and we have come up with a predictive analytics with respect to that by having almost around 24 parameters, and then based on this coming up with a solution that this should be the ideal way of procuring sulfur at this point of time. So now these are the data points. If you use it and if you make it with the machine learning algorithms, we have IBCF, KNN, trends, and all that stuff, right? Machine learning algorithms, and then based on uses of this, you can able to provide a visibility saying that, quantify that what are the benefits, right? And this, the quantification is very much required when you have a very less data. So now we have started collecting the data through various sources. We are trying to procuring the data from different ways and means. So in order to have some data, and then based on this, we can run a machine learning algorithm and come up with some prediction and insights. Because I personally believe that data is a new oil, right? If you dig deep, it will get in form of insights, and then you can take a well-informed business decision. Because right now, all the corporates, now competition is going on. What you require is that how you can take a well-informed decision at the right time. And this is something that with the help of technology, predictive analytics, or you can say machine learning. This will help to achieve and accomplish the business objective. And this is something that SML is doing it, and we have started this and getting the trust from the top management as well as from the person. They are seeing and feeling that, yes, it's meaningful. So investment in this kind of technology, yes, definitely is. So certain point of time, we were using a kind of, let's say, postcard or something. It's outdated. So it's now the technology. Everything, communication happens on a WhatsApp. So how we can leverage this kind of technology in our day-to-day operations, and since the plant and where there is a lot of manpower involved, there are certain process through which we can automate and generate a more productivity, improve the efficiency, reduction in the wastage, a reduction in the kind of, you can say, or even a safety. And even to certain extent, now we have a ready-made data available. So with respect to statutory requirement or compliance, this will help. So this is something that we have witnessed. So many of these things, these benefits we have realized. And going forward, we are seeing that by adoption and getting the more data, will be able to realize other benefits in very near future. So that's what we are hoping for, and that kind of the technology is available right now. I recommend, and this is something that we are already doing it. So this will be the best way to go forward and generate a good ROI for the company. There will take some time because there is an investment, and he has rightly mentioned, Sachin has rightly mentioned that it has a certain cost to it. But over a period of time, it will get reduced, and then based on this value proposition, what you bring on the table, it will really makes a difference. So this is something that one should invest in the technology and the kind of technology right now available. We can leverage to that in order to generate a more profit for the company, direct or indirect way, by reducing the cost or increasing the productivity or the throughput or the product quality, safety, and also the in last year the COT, carbon footprints, reduction in carbon footprints. So these are the things that industries are working on to reduce the carbon footprints, and these are the new avenues through which, if the technology can support this kind of initiative, that would be helpful for the industry and for the global as well. So these are some of the things.
So thank you, Rajeev. One thought which has come is why don't solution providers and industry come together? Like Godavari is focusing on sugar in a big way or ethanol in a big way. Aditya Birla Chemicals is focusing on chloralkali in a very big way. You are focusing on sulfur in a big way. So if the sulfur processes can be automated, and because you have more knowledge, you have more domain expertise in it. And if a solution provider, can you form a JV or some sort of a thing, then a new product comes into picture, which can be a sellable product. And that product can then be utilized by the industry based on so many years of experience of running a process, or in terms of even the price determination part of it, as you were talking about 24 parameters. This helps everybody in the long run, and the company also makes money. Sure. Then the IT doesn't become, or OT doesn't become an asset, or it doesn't become a liability, it becomes an asset for everybody. And top management, as you had chosen of ROI, they will never face a problem of return on investment. It will always be profitable, and they will benefit in the long run.
Pravinji, you have rightly mentioned, so it's time for not to compete, but to collaborate.
Or iske liye we need to collaborate.
Collaborate, yeah.
But if we think that we will do it in silos, it will not be possible. So people have to come together. The associations of Alkali Manufacturing Association or Dye Stuff Manufacturing, DMAI, all these have to come together, work on how these integrations can happen, see to it that it happens in a small way, and then it can be replicated across industry.